Welcome to Uninterrupted, the podcast from Forbes Cybersecurity, where we dive into the world of technology, cybersecurity, and IT solutions. We help your business stay protected and ahead of the curve by providing the information you need to stay safe. Whether you're a business owner, IT professional, or just tech curious, this is your go-to source for staying informed and staying secure.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Uninterrupted. I'm your host, Chris Hammonds, and with me today is our COO, John Faust. John, say hello.
Hey, everybody.
All right, guys. As always, we're going to get right into it. What we want to talk about today is support. And, we're noticing a lot of the people that I talk with, they are having some support issues. But here at Forbes, we do things a little bit differently. And John's going to explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so really, there's a big problem in the industry about how companies like ours are structured and what the industry tells us that companies like ours should do in order to work correctly. And what it has to do is with making our business the most profitable and productive as it can be, the most efficient that it can be. But what we see that happens with that is that actually affects what our core value is, and that's helping people. And we put that value above other things. And so when James started the company in '96, and when I joined in 2007, what I really looked at and what both of us really liked doing was the helping people aspect. We both could have gotten jobs in technology where we sat in a dark server room and worked on computers all the time. But what we quickly found out is we liked the people aspect. And so to us, the things that we do for our business is not about fixing servers and fixing PCs. That's what we work on. But what we actually do is we fix people's problems and we make end users' lives better. And so what we focused on with doing things at Forbes is how do I effectively do that? What are the things that actually does what you want to have happen from a business perspective? And that's for your end users to be happy, for them to be productive, for them to have technology that works for them, and for them to sit down every day and have a high confidence that their computers are going to work and work for them. And so when we look at things through that lens, we see a lot of things that the industry tells us to do that we push back against. We fight against our peer groups. We fight against some of the coaching partners that we have that say, well, you shouldn't do things that way because they're not efficient for you. But that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to provide the best support possible for you and your employees and the end users that are at your company so that they can do the best thing possible. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to delve into a few of these topics, and we're going to kind of talk about why we do things the way that we do them, and what some of those concerns, and why you might be interested to hear a little bit more about it.
Absolutely. And one of the things, more specifically what I hear is, why, if it's a bigger project or if it's something that takes a couple different people to look at, why do I never hear anything back? Like, there's a big lack of communication with businesses in their IT department. Knowing that, what does Forbes do differently?
Yeah, so communication is really key to everything that goes on. And so we see a lot of problems that could be nipped in the bud just with proper communication levels. And so if you as a employer, and this is actually not, this is not have specifically to do with IT issues, this is kind of across the board for anything. And a lack of information, then human nature is to make the assumption of what is worse for them. So if I don't know something and I'm going through a medical diagnosis, I'm going to do the WebMD, do the Google My Symptoms problem, and I'm going to think that I have something absolutely horrific happen when it's not really that bad. And so the customer service aspect of this is actually talking to the employees and letting them know, okay, well, this is potentially worst case scenario that could happen, but these are all the things that we're doing to make sure it doesn't get to that. Because really, at the end of the day, the people want to be taken care of and they want to be felt that they matter, right? And that's hugely important. Yes, we understand that this is affecting your business. This is going to take us a little bit more time to solve. These are some of the pitfalls that we're running into, not from an overly technical perspective, because your employees either A, don't care or wouldn't be able to understand that, but from why does this matter to you? Do we feel like we can fix it, and are we making progress into actually fixing it? And then how long is it actually going to take to fix? Well, those are things that a lot of techs aren't initially wired at doing. They're wired for putting the blinders on and fixing the problem, no matter what it takes to get that problem fixed. And sometimes, okay, well, I'm not thinking about all these other distractions here. I'm focused on fixing this actual problem. But they're not distractions. Customer service has to come first. It has to be the first thing that's in mind. And so part of that, it makes it a little bit more difficult hiring techs at Forbes because we look for people that can talk to people. I don't want people who can only speak tech because when somebody calls us and something bad's happening, they need to be walked through and said, okay, yes, I'm sorry that's going on. Let's do everything in our power to fix it. It will be okay. And have that empathy and that human connection on the other side of the phone or in person to let them know that it's going to be all right and we're going to get it solved. And then know from our previous experience and from our communication that not only are we going to solve the actual problem that we're going to solve the thing that they think is wrong, but we're going to delve deeper and find the actual problem and not just do what the industry calls symptom solving. Because if you keep slapping a Band-Aid over an open wound, well, you're going to keep changing out Band-Aids, but you're never going to fix the problem versus getting in there and actually suturing up the actual issue and taking care of it from its core problem. And so those are some other things that we do as well. A lot of times we see frustration with that. Hey, I keep having this problem over and over and over again, and our IT guys aren't fixing it. Well, and then we'll go take a look at it and we'll find out, well, they never identified root cause. And so we're always telling our people here, are you fixing the actual problem, right? And we have systems that are designed to try to identify, okay, we fixed this thing and that should have been the fix, and then it breaks again. Okay, how do I identify that this is a multiple recurring problem? So then we actually find out what the actual root cause is and fix that. Because if you're symptom solving, it's making our company less efficient, but it's also costing you more money as the business owner because you have employees who are constantly running into roadblocks that are not allowing them to do their job.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, a lot of great information. And, one of the things the industry tells us to do is prioritize tickets. So they might recommend a ticketing system or have people email you tickets. So we, as an industry, can prioritize our tickets to make us basically more productive. And I don't like that. Right. Yeah. So we decided we're going to do things a little bit differently than that. So talk us a little bit more about what that process looks like.
So the industry, we have a lot of pressure from our industry to do this way. And that is, no matter what the communication form of the ticket is to work that ticket first based on its priority, and then secondly, based on whenever it came in. And so what that'll do is that allows us to work on things when it's more convenient for our techs. What we tell people to do is we tell them, if you're having an issue that you're ready to be worked on right now, to go ahead and call us and get a live rep on the phone. And the person here that answers the call, they're my techs that are in this building. They answer the phone and they can actually help and fix your problems whenever you call. The majority of these issues that get called about are handled within the first 15 minutes. And that's not just somebody putting in a ticket. That's actually you calling in and your issue was resolved within those first 15 minutes. That's around 80% of the calls that we get. And so what we do then is I say, okay, what frustrated James and I is if we'll pick on Adobe because Adobe has historically had pretty bad customer service, but QuickBooks, you name it, there's all kinds of ones. You call them and you end up putting in a ticket, and then they will get back to you when it's convenient for them to do the work. Well, I had 20, 30 minutes to solve this issue right now. Right? And so that's the same thing that we think is going on with your employees, and this is what we've seen. And so, Bob in accounting has 30 minutes to take a look at this problem right now. And it might be a simple fix, it might be very easy to do, but he doesn't 100% know that. And so when he calls, one of my guys can fix their issue right then and get them back to work with what is important. What the industry tells us to do is that we should receive that call, put it into the call queue, and then call that guy back at 2 or 3 today. Well, does Bob have time to work on that at 2 or 3 today? Right. Well, we don't know, because what we're prioritizing is not what's best for Bob, but we're prioritizing what's best for Forbes. And that's not how we do things. We think of things from the first lens of your people, they're worried, they can't get their work done, they want to do things. And so reach out to us and we'll go ahead and we'll fix your issue and not put you in basically ticket purgatory,
right,
where whatever at the whim of the convenience at us is. And we really, really battle. I've had this battle for many years now with business coaches and with other peer groups in our industry about you shouldn't do it that way because it's not the most efficient for Forbes. But in my mind and James's mind, that's not what's most important to me. What's most important to me is making sure that your people get the actual problem solved that they need to have solved so they can get back to work. because that's the reason why our companies pay us money to do what we do.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too. And you pretty much hit it on the head. Fix their problem while they have time to fix it, right? What if you need to screen connect or anything like that, you got to remote into their computer. Let's focus on fixing that problem the moment they have it. And to your point, and let's not wait and prioritize it to make our lives easier. We're here for our employee or for our customer.
Yeah, we make it very easy for people to contact us, right? So it's, about 23 seconds is the longest that they really sit on hold. That's average that they're on hold before a live rep actually gets them. Most of our problems are fixed within 15 minutes on that first call that happens. And then if they can't, then they get escalated up, and there's communication that happens back and forth that says, okay, this is what we've encountered and this is what we're going to do to try to fix it, and make sure the communication happens back and forth so that your employees have a confidence that, hey, my stuff's going to get fixed, I'm going to get back up to working and all those items. And then when we look past that, when we look at cybersecurity, having a support like that, having a support method like that is 100% crucial for cybersecurity. If you're the kind of place that only puts in tickets and nobody can look at the issue quickly, well, what if an end user has detected that there's something nefarious going on? Right. What if they've detected that there's been some unusual behavior going on and they don't have the confidence that they're going to be able to call their IT company and make sure that it gets looked at quickly? Well, that can lengthen that dwell time that we've talked about in previous episodes, that dwell time that a threat actor could potentially be on a system if something bad actually happened, and increase the time that a bad thing could potentially happen because it's not being detected, right? And so we want end users to have a high confidence to say, okay, yeah, these guys are really great at fixing my problems. They're always nice to me. They never make things feel like it's my fault. They have high empathy and they have high understanding. I want them, if they have a cyber concern, to be able to call and get to us and reach out and say, hey, this weird thing's happened. What do you think? How should I handle it? And that they have a high confidence that we're actually going to do it. And that's what's really important to us.
And, you had mentioned we like to resolve the issue on the first call, too. 75% of the calls that we receive, we're able to resolve that issue on that first touch, thus eliminating downtime and all those sorts of things. And that also is some reassurance that we don't want you to call and speak to an answering machine, right? We don't want you to call, have one person take a message so an engineer or an expert can go ahead and look at the issue. Our frontline staff is trained well enough to where we can actually, 75% of our calls get resolved on that first time you call us.
Well, and people don't want to talk to a machine. And so this is the big thing that's coming in our industry. And you might be hearing about it coming for yours too, is AI call answering services and things like that. And we have never seen one that is natural. We've never seen one that's good. It's being really pushed to us. A lot of companies are doing it, but it doesn't fit our goal. At the end of the day, when something actually bad happens, you want somebody to contact you and to be able to talk to you through those sorts of scenarios and make sure that things are going to be good. You don't want to talk to a robot. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that no matter how good the AIs are, they're still not people. And we feel like that human-to-human interaction is very important. I don't know if that makes me old and old school, but, I like dealing with people. Like I said before, James likes dealing with people. Our company, we set up our company to deal with people, not to deal with machines. And so it's important to us, and we will have that human interaction there and do it, even if the industry is telling us that that's not the best way to do it. We think it's the right way to do it.
Absolutely, and because usually if someone's calling in, then the majority of the time is there's an issue, right? So if you don't have anybody expressing empathy and understanding what their situation is or their problem is, they're not going to be happy getting it resolved, and no one's happy in that, right?
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for another episode.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and reach out if you have any questions at all. We really want to make you be as educated as possible and be as informative as possible. And hopefully you guys get the best out of whatever IT you're working. We'd obviously love for you to work with us, but, just push for better, right? Absolutely. Always push for better.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Uninterrupted, a podcast from Forbes Cybersecurity. We hope you walked away with practical insights to protect your business and stay ahead of the latest cyber threats. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. For more tips, resources, and cybersecurity updates, visit Forbis.com. That's 4bis.com. And follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll be back soon with another episode, so stay vigilant and stay uninterrupted.